I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, will you prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we come before this morning just to say thank you for your love and mercy and grace that you may do for us. Lord, we ask you to watch over us, guys, by your Spirit, Lord. Watch over the commissioners. They've got a lot of decisions to make, Lord. And we just pray that we all come together under your guidance for the betterment of this community. Please forgive us what we've done in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Get my paperwork straightened out here. I'll start with approval of the minutes. I hear a motion to approve the minutes for August the 7th.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
In the matter of claims, we have a total payroll of claims of $827,004.21. Payroll is $299,507.24. Regular claims $366,708.69. Out of cycle claims $160,788.28. Again, for a total of $827,004.21. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the total payroll and claims for that amount.
I have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
I'm going to abstain. Here you have the second.
Okay. And you had a
Family claim.
Yep. Financial report and treasurer monthly. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I did second that. And
Vote on it.
Vote on it. Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I wondered why he was looking at me funny. I went ahead and moved to the next step, didn't I?
You have your financial report in front of you. It's for the month of July, and through August the 16th, so it does include today's claims that are on there. So yeah, those are your total amounts. Those are amounts that we will be working with going into budget hearings next week as well. They're pretty similar to the ones that I provided in all of the budgets so that everybody, council and commissioners, were both looking at them. Right now, our balances are doing pretty good going into the budget hearings. We do have our amounts for our lit funds for next year already. Nobody's losing any money. Your department didn't get as much as they had separate paperwork, but they still are making a little more than what we did this year. So other than that, we're good.
As long as we're gaining and not losing. Or holding our own. All right. Old business, timekeeping policy. Dana, do you want to touch on that for us, please?
Yes, the timekeeping policy has gone out for review by all the department heads and elected officials. Did get some comments and so made some adjustments. I won't read it word for word, but I will go through what's the requirements are. First of all, it's just important, as you can imagine, to keep as accurate a record of time as possible. It is required by federal and state laws, and Owen County wants to make sure that they stay with that. The non-exempt employees should accurately record the time they begin and end their work, as well as beginning and ending of each meal period. Employees should also record beginning and ending time of any split shift or departure from work for personal reasons. Owen County utilizes the attendance on demand to record time worked for payroll purposes. Each non-exempt employee is required to use their designated badge to clock in at the start of the shift and out at the end of the scheduled work day, and again, for meals, and are required to, again, clock in, out, and in for lunch. You should not clock in more than 7 minutes before your assigned starting time or 7 minutes after your assigned quitting time without authorization from your supervisor. Violation of this policy may result in disciplinary action. Employees should clock in during the 7 minutes immediately before their assigned starting time and be at their work area ready to begin working at the assigned starting time. The Fair Labor Standards Act allows employers to round the number of minutes worked, and Owen County applies the 15-minute rule. If an employee clocks in or out between 1 and 7 minutes before or after the scheduled time, the time will be rounded down. If an employee clocks in or out between 8 and 15 minutes or after the scheduled time, the time will be rounded up. A work hour is any hour of the day that is worked and should be recorded to the nearest quarter of an hour. Therefore, on the clock, 53 minutes to 7 minutes equals 0 minutes. 8 to 22 equals a quarter of an hour, 23 to 37 a half hour, and 38 to 52 is 3/4 of an hour. Time clocks must be used unless otherwise stated herein. When not in a location with a time clock, the following positions may use the mobile application and must have the location services on. This would include the EMS director, only when called in on an emergency run, the EMA director only during a declared emergency or training, the 911 director, soil and water director, highway superintendent, assistant highway superintendent, sheriff deputies, probation officers only while on call, the prosecutor's investigator, the extension office personnel, but only when working at the Owen County and state fairs, the building inspector and code enforcement officer, and the health department sanitarian. Employees will not clock in another in and out under any circumstances. In the event of a missed or incorrect punch is made, notify your supervisor immediately and send a message in the system for documentation. Supervisors must fix employee mistakes, must approve leave requests, and are encouraged to regularly access their systems throughout their pay period. It is very important that the time records are accurate. Employees must log into the system by Saturday at 11:59 p.m., the last day of the pay period, to approve their time card. For those who are working past midnight, they must approve their time card at the end of their shift. Employees who fail to do so will be deemed to have approved their time card and corrections will not be processed. Supervisors must approve their employees' time cards by 10 a.m. on the following Monday if they have less than 15 employees, or by noon if they have more, 15 employees or more. Each employee is going to get an assigned unique badge. If you lose your badge or it gets damaged and negligently, it's going to cost $3 for replacement. Employee's failure to submit accurate time records may result in employee's failure to receive a paycheck for the time period in question. The employee's paycheck may be held until accurate time records which verify the employee's attendance and work hours during the time period in question are submitted by the employee. Overtime work must be approved before it is performed. Elected officials, department heads, or their designee must approve all overtime work before it is performed by the employee. Tampering, altering, falsifying time records, or recording time on another's employee's time record may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. So that is the policy for the commissioners to consider.
I'll ask for a motion for a policy.
Can I ask something?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, can we, change the EMS and the EMA to be also allowed to clock in for meetings after hours at locations that don't have time clocks?
That's basically what it says for training. I mean,
But it said for emergency, like.
we can have
situations
meetings on
only.
there, yeah.
So, which the
We'll put that in our
medical
motion.
director isn't like specified, so I feel like those ones.
We'll
need
put it
to
in our
be-
motion, yeah. You good with that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of timekeeping policy 401 with the amendment of meetings for EMS and EMA director.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Joel, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Shelley, how are you this morning? Doing okay.
I am here this morning to see if I can get approval from you guys to sign a service agreement with a new company. GovTech is our credit card company that we've had since, I believe, 2012. They've been bought out by Catalyst. Catalyst brings to the table a brand new bunch of ways to pay. They're going digital wallets, they're able to do Venmo, they're able to do several new things, and also help prevent some errors by the time they get to us. So I am asking for your approval to sign up on the service agreement. It'll be for a 3-year agreement. We got some of the fees lowered as well, switching over to this new guy. We negotiated those. I did keep the flat rate of $3.95 per transaction for the next 3 years. After that, it will go up. We will notify the residents of Owen County via tax bill mailing. Put an insert in there somewhere. All the equipment is free. No
Is this
cost to the
something we
county.
could use in other offices as well? I know it's just to pay for your department taxes, but
Correct.
we use credit cards in other offices, so.
It can be utilized, yes.
Okay.
Catalyst is a brand new company to me, but GovTech is retaining some of the employees, and those are the ones that I am staying with. And they're very easy to work with. They've been a fantastic vendor, no issues whatsoever in that regard.
Dana, have you looked at this agreement?
I have not. I can look at it.
I do have an amendment to the service agreement that was put in. They had, in the original one, put in that they could debit our account, but this amendment does not allow them to do so without turning in an invoice.
I'll let him look at it real quick, if that's okay.
Actually, I have looked at that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Yes, I have looked at that. I'm sorry.
You have that? You have the
I have
amendment?
looked at it. I
Okay.
forgot I
Too
sent
many
you.
pieces of paper go through.
Yeah. Yeah, because I sent you a response
Yes.
to your email on it, so
Yes,
I
I
did.
did respond. But the amendment is new. It's as of this morning, first thing this morning, because I caught it rereading it yesterday to prepare for today, where they were allowed to debit, and we don't want that to happen for county money.
And that just requires a signature from the treasurer, gentlemen, so if anybody'd like to make a motion to approve the new service agreement for the treasurer's office, take that down.
I'll make it.
Got a motion by Joel, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob, all in favor, aye. And that
You're
is for
authorizing the signature.
authorizing her to sign that agreement. Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yep.
All right. Ginger, how are you this morning? Time for another library appointment.
Yeah, I didn't expect to have another one so soon.
This is not a 4-year, this is just to fill in a open
Right.
position, correct?
2 years, I think, yeah.
Yeah. and I did speak with Ginger before the meeting and asked her if she had a preference. She said she doesn't. She's totally fine with either one of these individuals. Bob had a little background on one of them, and I have no problem using his recommendation. And Bob, I'll let you make that motion if you prefer.
I appoint, or my recommendation is the Owen girl and staff, so
Alyssa Owen.
Alyssa Owens.
So is that, you're putting,
I make
making
that
a motion?
motion, we
Okay.
appoint.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
There you go.
Good choice.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Susan, if you want to go ahead and come on up.
Gary, we need your signature on those two.
Okay. Susan, if you'll go ahead while I'm signing these, I think we're good.
So the planning commission had a meeting in July, and they had given favorable recommendations to two properties who wish to rezone their properties. The Spencer First Church of the Nazarene and a property in Harrison Township owned by James and Christina Hall. They both were given favorable recommendations to move forward with their rezones.
All right. First ordinance is 2024-17,
Yes.
an ordinance to amend the county zoning and subdivision control for the Nazarene Church.
Yes.
And it looks like it had a 5-0 favorable by the planning commission.
Yes, and that's going from agricultural to institutional public.
And I personally am going to abstain from this because I attend that church, but I would like to ask for a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion, Gary.
Got a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
They're putting in soccer courses, aren't they?
Yeah, that's where they're proposing to build a new church as well. The second one is for James and Christina Hall in Harrison Township, and theirs is going from agricultural to single family, as they would like to split the property and it won't meet the county's minimum for agricultural.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Got a motion by Joel, second by Bob, and this is on ordinance number 2024-18. Just one quick question. How many acres are they?
So it's 4 acres currently, and they're wanting to split off like 1 or 2 acres.
Okay.
That's it.
Just the only question I had.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. And I think that one I need back, it requires me to sign that. Joe? Yeah, that last one. I missed the back page, I believe. Thank you. 911 director, I don't see her here this morning. Highway.
Morning, Commissioners. I don't have a whole lot for you this morning. Short report. As you know, 3 commissioner meetings ago now, I reported that the Mack truck should be in our possession for our distributor truck build. So we could have delivery in 25. We were guaranteed the truck was manufactured and it was being transported. Commissioners, that truck missed its build date. Well, Mack says it's being transported. It just had to be transported from a Mack factory in Pennsylvania to Terre Haute for us to inspect, and then go to Etnire to have the distributor equipment put on. Southeastern, where the distributor truck portion is coming from, is aware. I cannot tell you where that puts us. Nobody can tell me whether it puts us next in line or it puts us at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, and that's to be delivered in 2025. We just didn't have a date in 2025.
That is correct. It takes that long
Right.
for the build. So
So we're still in process then.
we're still in the process, but I needed to report that did not happen. Also, the truck that we were promised before the snow flew last year, and we were supposed to have, and the representative from Mack was here and told you it would be here in 2 weeks. That has still not been delivered. We do have an update, or a semblance of an update, and the bed's not even been put on it. So Commissioners, I can't tell you when that truck will arrive. I don't know whether Dana needs to get involved in the situation or not.
Yeah, because we had to buy another truck
Yes,
back last, January.
yes.
I hope we see it before snow flies this year.
Yes.
That's a tandem axle, or
Single axle.
Single axle.
Just under CDL. And then the Commissioners, I would like for the board to consider revisiting the ordinance into roadside maintenance and mowing. The ordinance we have now is antiquated, but it says that the property owners are responsible basically for their own roadsides and their own brush. You know how many miles we have to take care of, and getting around them once in a year is sometimes pretty tough, but we're getting some grumblings that we have mowing equipment, but this is what the ordinance says. I don't know exactly how we want to readdress it, but I think it's something that needs addressed in some shape in football form.
Yeah, we've not followed that ordinance very well because we've been out mowing roadsides as much as we possibly can
That is
since
correct.
I've been sitting here, so, yeah, we need to take a look at that.
And I had a customer call me, and he agreed with it. What, the customer should be mowing their own roadside, but it's not happening.
No, and I'm just bringing to you that we have a very antiquated ordinance, and we
Yeah.
have equipment to mow.
Speaking of that, equipment to mow, staying on the same subject, how are we coming with our new John Deere mower?
February.
Keep moving back, dear.
Whoa. That was supposed to be here in August.
That is correct.
Okay.
I think he'll drop
And
the
currently,
price.
how many mow trims do we have working?
I know that the board told me to use the Massey very lightly, but we have both of them running in a side mower right now, just as hard as they can go.
I think we need to go back and renegotiate with Wright Implement because that tractor is literally on 3 legs. And if it lays down, they need to continue to take the trade at the value that they told us that they would for this tractor. And I think that we need to demand that. If you want me to make that call, I'll be happy to, or if you want to take care of it first and let me know.
I'll make a phone call if I run into any issues, but they did tell me to go ahead and use the tractor.
Okay, and we need to get some kind of agreement stating that fact, because we know how things work when it comes time for that tractor to show up, and they're gonna say, oh, that other tractor's junk, we're not gonna take it on trade.
Then lastly, Commissioners, I just want to let you know that I have 21 employees in the field. Right now, I have 2 off workman's comp. With the communication that we've had, I think one of them may be back in November. There is talk of the second one being back in November, maybe. We're using part-time employees, but these are CDL drivers, and it's not really filling the void. So it's putting us behind and in a box. I just want everybody to be aware, as you know, Monday, for example, with those 2 off basically until November, and then the normal call-ins and vacation, I had 5 people off.
Yeah, and I'd ask you about that, and it is a problem when you have 2 out on injured workman's comp, and then you have people with sick days or vacation. What I would recommend, if the board agrees, whatever you need to do with your contract services to fill in some of those truck voids, if you have the funds available. We're gonna have to cover that void until we get some of these people back to work.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Allow him, if we need to contract another company to haul his product, and
Yeah, if we
if
get
you
a
can
local.
financially tolerate it.
Yeah,
Well, we can't tolerate a lot.
yeah.
Well,
If you can get a local that's got a, single axle or a tandem that can help you out.
The only where that might come into play is, laying the cold mix. That's all I have.
All right. Greg, we appreciate it, and we do have a administrative meeting after this meeting, so if you got some business to take care of, go ahead and do that, and we may be done here in 30 minutes, hopefully. All right. Amended ADA, you have something on that?
That is the resolution that, to adopt a change in the economic development plan from the redevelopment commission. The redevelopment commission voted yesterday afternoon 5-0 to amend the plan so that the county or RDC can acquire the property that is what we've been calling the proposed jail site. And all it does is add that property to the acquisition list, meaning they can get it if they decide that is the best route to go. And so it went to the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission only had 7 members of the 9 present. There's often some gone. And so they would need to approve that change as well. And it failed to pass. The vote was for it, 2 against it, and 1 abstained. Even though that was the majority of the quorum that was present, to take official action, the Plan Commission has to have a majority vote of the entire membership. So it would take 5 votes to pass. So they are looking at a special meeting to consider it again, and so that you commissioners would not approve of the resolution until they have approved it when it comes to you. So that may put a kink in the timing, may not, depending on how quick they can get that meeting done. And see, what was the schedule? When did that meeting?
The special meeting with the redevelopment is next Tuesday.
For the Plan Commission?
It's
Yeah.
the planning commission
The
to
planning-
meet with the redevelopment on it at 6:30 p.m.
Well, if that happens, we could approve ours on the 4th, our meeting on the 4th, and still be within the timeline, so,
Yeah.
okay.
So if any of members of the redevelopment commission want to be present, that'd be great. If there's going to be 3 or more present, then we would need to also advertise that as a meeting, a joint meeting, and include them.
Okay. I said ADA, I meant EDA, Jack. I'm sorry if I threw you a curveball there.
I heard it out there.
Yeah, my bad.
I asked a couple questions. So in the RDC meeting yesterday, Devin, is that, or Dustin Meeks, their
Dustin.
attorney, he was advertising meetings and things. Is somebody gonna get a hold of him?
I already contacted them.
Okay. And then they had also said they were having a public meeting September the 19th. Will that still be that date, or will it be?
I'll get with Dustin and we'll go over the timeline and I'll let you know.
I would think if it can get back to us by the 4th, we could stick with that 19, but we'll see. Anything else, Dana? On that avenue?
Not on that.
Okay. Elected officials and department heads.
I have a like an announcement about that in an open enrollment. For the AOD system, I'm having another meeting at 1:30 on Friday. So that is not with the training guy that we had that first time. This is just with me. So if you guys want to come and sit down and you can sit up here and look at the computers while I walk you through it, that's what that will be. And then the next week is the budget, so we won't have one that week, but I will probably do another one after that. And I will send out an email for that as well. So I just wanted to remind everybody that this Friday, 1:30. For open enrollment, the healthy results that we have to do with IU for the rate locks, it has to be done by October. And I wanted to schedule that open enrollment and that on the same day like we did last year, but I don't know if that's going to be feasible this year because we will not have health insurance rates until November, according to Brittany with Bill C. Brown. So we have to do the healthy results in October so that we can get the rate lock if we decide to go with IU again after a market analysis or whatever you guys decide to do. Do we want to hold off on open enrollment until after we get the confirmed health insurance rates?
I think that that's a must.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
So they're
Well,
going
you
to
need a
have to
healthy-
be on different days.
yes,
But I have to have 50% participation in healthy results by, and it has to be people who are actually enrolled in the plan. It can't just be any employee. So it has to be 50% of those who are actually on the health insurance plan to participate in healthy results. And I have October 10th and 11th scheduled. So one will be in the morning and one will be in the afternoon.
just get it scheduled, get the email out to the departments, and if they want to continue to have low-cost insurance, they better show up.
There will likely be an incentive again. Bill C. Brown typically provides gift cards or something of the sort, but just want to give you guys a heads up. The dates are October 10th and 11th for that. And then I will come with November dates for open enrollment after I get with Bill C. Brown.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Dana, do we want to bring up the
Yeah,
commission meeting?
you can go ahead and do that if you want, or I was gonna.
So last night at the planning commission meeting, the planning commission decided on some fines for a property that was given a cease and desist because they are not permitted for certain use, as they were also cited for not having a special events from the county or state to run an archery on their property. The planning commission had decided last night to fine them $500 per day for the 2 days that they had it 2 weekends ago. Apparently they are planning on one during Labor Day weekend as well, so we need to kind of get something going. They were also, the planning commission voted that they would like for the commissioners to, in conjunction with the planning commission, to put an injunction against the property owners to cease operations of the property. The property is under, it's under a personal name, but they run under the name of Nancy's Broken Arrow, and they were,
Are they permitted for these functions?
no.
That's what I thought.
No, so that's why they were given a cease and desist. is to stop because it has become aware that we've become aware that the arrows are leaving their property and going on to the neighboring properties, which is a campground. And it is unsafe because there are children there over the weekends and other adults and stuff, and the neighbor can't use their property to the best of their ability, as they can't go anywhere close to that property while they're shooting arrows towards the property.
The cease and desist letter went to William and Laura Dayhuff, and I wrote this, and it says, "I represent the Owen County Commissioners and Plan Commission. Your archery range under the name of Nancy's Broken Arrow is not a permitted use in an agricultural zone per Owen County Code OCC 155.003 and 155.027D, and is prohibited. OCC 155.345A states that any use of land contrary to Chapter 155 zoning code is a common nuisance and a violation of the chapter. Penalties for a violation of the zoning code can be up to $500 per each day of violation." And again, the Plan Commission, as she said, chose $500 because of severity. In addition, special events are required to have a permit pursuant to Owen County Code 91.03. Failure to have a permit is a violation with penalties up to $2,500 from Owen County Code 91.99 per day. Law enforcement officers, including those of the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, may enforce this code, Owen County Code 91.11. The Owen County Sheriff has been made aware of this issue. It is my understanding that you have 2 archery events scheduled for tomorrow, August 9th, 2024. These events must be canceled, or you will be in violation of the zoning code and the special event code and will be fined appropriately. The Owen County Sheriff has been made aware of this issue. There are reports that numerous arrows have left the confines of your property, which is a public safety hazard. You must immediately cease and desist allowing arrows to leave the confines of your property. And for the code, a special event is any organized gathering of people for any purpose for a limited period of time, which is sponsored by a for-profit or nonprofit, individual, group, organization, or entity at which any 2 or more of the following apply. So you have to have 2 of these 3. The event requires the use of the county courthouse, which this does not, so the other 2 would need to apply. Number 2 was the expenditure of county resources is contemplated or deemed necessary by county personnel to maintain public health, safety, and welfare. Of course, that sends somebody out to cite them. If an arrow would strike somebody and hurt them, that would involve EMS, and so it is my opinion that that meets, that this event would meet that. And the event is expected to have a visual, noise, and or other environmental impact upon the immediate vicinity or surrounding area of the event. And again, the arrows are leaving the property. So based on those 2, this would be a special permit event, and a permit would be required. And they, again, from the cease and desist letter, were notified that was a requirement, and they decided to go ahead with their event anyway. So what I would need instruction from the commissioners as to do you want to fine them for the special event and violation, and if so, it is up to $2,500. What amount do you want to, and that would be a daily fine. What amount do you want to fine? And also, because of the safety hazard, the Plan Commission would like, again, to file an injunction with the courts to get them ordered not to have any more of these events. And I would need to file that again with the court. And if they continue with events then that would be contempt of court, and they could be arrested for that.
I personally was involved that weekend through phone calls, emails, those type of things.
We do also have the neighbor who,
And I will
As well.
understand that as well. We put these ordinances together, this board does, to protect the citizens of this county for a reason. That's why we do what we do. And they have to be upheld. I want to hear from the sheriff department before we move forward on the process that happened that day. I understand we sent a deputy out there, is that correct? We did not.
Didn't hear anything about the deputy responding to it. It's possible, but I wasn't reported to us. I'm aware of David's letter, received that email, but
Yeah, and I forwarded it to Ryan. You may have been out of town that weekend. I don't know, but I did forward it. I wanted to make sure everybody was involved.
There was a deputy that was dispatched, and he come out, he made a round with Laura, I'm assuming. He deemed it safe, and I specifically asked him to move one chute. I have video of a chute showing why, as the arrow hit the top of the target, and it flies off into my property. So, as I was going around and getting all this, the pictures of their chutes, I was degraded, I was cussed at, I was told to leave my own property by their shooters. Then I tried to call the deputy directly back on his cell phone. He did not answer, so I called dispatch again. He ended up returning the call to me about 30 minutes later and told me basically there was a complaint coming from Nancy Broken Arrow and we could have our own pissing match over the property line. And I said, "Do what?"
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Will Dobbins Beck. I'm the owner of Home Place Campground.
That's the adjacent property. That's an adjacent property.
Adjacent property, correct. And as well, it's not just me. Jesse, the other neighbor to the north of them, has the same problem. He's battling cancer right now. He was going to come to the meeting last evening and he's not up to it. But I talked to all the neighbors, surrounding neighbors, even the neighbor across Mill Grove Road has been over to Nancy Broken Arrows with arrows in his hand, asking, why are these coming 2 foot from my front porch?
Yeah, we can't allow that. And appreciate an officer being out there, and I'm not the officer's boss, but the judgment call of it being safe is irrelevant because they're breaking a county ordinance by having an event when we have a ordinance stating the fact that they have to file for permits and so on and so forth. So that was a bad call.
And as well, he was aware of that letter.
Polly?
I just have a question. I mean, I looking them up, it looks like they've been operating since, what, 2016, something like that? How come it's just now coming to, and I have nothing in this, I just got a question. How come it's just now coming to where?
This is the first event like this that I'm aware of since I've been here for 6 years.
Well, they've got a schedule for 2023, so they've been doing it, I mean, at least since last year.
yeah.
Again, this is the first it's come. At any rate, it doesn't matter because they're breaking the ordinance and they're causing safety issues for adjacent citizens. None of us want to have our neighbors shooting arrows at our property and we're out in the yard. Nobody does.
Well, another thing to note is regardless of the fact, them filing a special events request has nothing to do with any of this anyway. If it's deemed unsafe, it doesn't matter that they didn't file because apparently they would have gone ahead and had the event anyway, whether it was approved or disapproved. So this is a real touchy, and like Polly, I'm going to ask, why did this just happen? Because go ahead, sir.
I can answer that. So before Bob died, I could go to Bob and say, Bob, I got a problem with your chute. You know, your arrows are coming on my property. He would move his chutes. Since Bob has passed, Laura has taken over. I tried to be a kind neighbor. I went and I've asked multiple times. I've told her, I've had the sheriff's department out once, they had a shooting in a really bad place. She ignored me, so I called the sheriff's department, they did move it. But I know Laura knew that chute was there, but she told the deputy, oh yeah, we'll move it, my son misunderstood where to put it. So she just wants to do whatever she wants, they don't care about anybody.
This sounds to me to be a legal issue, although as commissioners, you know, it's not our position to uphold these ordinances. They were placed and they're to be, you know, it's not our position as commissioners. This is a law issue that deals with our ordinance, and I believe it should be handled through our attorney and through the court system. It's not my call whether it's safe or unsafe, or it's good, bad, or indifferent. We have ordinances protecting our citizens from this. As Gary said, we need to enforce them and the fines, and that's how it goes. It's neither one of our decisions to make whether this is proceeded forth with or not. If we have ordinances in place that penalize these people, then so be it. Let's let the court system take and do its job. So I don't know that it's really a question among us as to what to do or how to do it. It is not. It's written in black and white. It's been written. Let's follow the law, go through the proper chains of command, and let it be what it is.
Again, I would need from the commissioners, if they decide they want to impose the fine, again, it's up to $2,500 a day. The ordinance does not determine what the schedule is, you know, what, that would mean that it would be up to the commissioners. The Planning Commission, again, decided on their side to do the maximum, which is $500 a day. So they're going to be fined $1,000 for the shoot.
Then I believe that, in my mind, the Planning Commission made the decision.
Well, for their side, but then the special event is for the commissioners, so.
And we made that ordinance, Joe, so we're gonna have to make a decision on it.
That's fine, but we did not set a schedule, Gary. We did not say this offense costs this or this.
We can do that right now.
Well, as we should, because we
Right.
can't just go imposing a dollar figure on people when there's no paperwork to follow that up with.
There is a fee schedule, is that correct?
Well, it's again up to 2,500, but each case would be different. You know, if this was a mini concert or something like that.
I understand.
Then that wouldn't, you know, so there's not a scale there, so each one would need to be individually looked at and considered and determined what the level of severity is for the fine.
While I appreciate that, I'm not going to sit here and impose a financial fine on somebody that has not been pre-scheduled. Or, I mean, someone tell me why the $500 just comes, did somebody just make that up in their head?
The Planning Commission voted on it. Again, it's depending on the severity of the violation.
Okay, I'm not beating up on the Planning Commission. What I want to know is where did that dollar figure come from?
The $500 is in the ordinance. It says a maximum of $500.
Okay,
So it is an
and if
action.
they've opted to do that, then so be it.
But we need to back that up because it's our ordinance.
We can back, if it's
So-
written and it's in black and white and that's what they've opted, then we'll back them.
So here's what I want to do. I'm going to make a motion that we stay in line with the Planning Commission at their fee.
So stay in line, so you do $500 a day as well?
Exactly. That's my motion.
Per day of an event,
Event, yeah.
not a day, every day.
No,
Not the
just
event.
the day of.
Yeah. That's
So
my
there's been
motion.
2 days.
I'll make that motion. If we
I'll
can,
make- I
if
make-
you will restate that again, Gary, and so that,
My motion is that we support the Planning Commission and their rate of fine. The commissioners follow that as well for the 2-day event.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
think we have to be in conjunction with one another here to move forward.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the sheriff's department backing up and supporting our citizens of the county and making sure they're safe.
And I would also need to know if the commissioners wish for me to file an injunction. That's up to you. If you know, you're my client, so if you want me to file an injunction, I will. If you want to see if the fines and
Let's move forward as we are right now.
Yes.
Before we take any further action. Is that fair for you, gentlemen?
That's fair.
And of course, we'll notify them of the fines and notify them that they will continue and possible court action as well if they continue to have these events.
And if they're going to have the events or try to have the events, they need to go through the process of going to the auditor's office and asking for a special permit for those type of events, so. Okay. Public comment. I think we're kind
Oh,
of
wait.
already in there. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh. I wanted to speak briefly to Jack White as the ADA coordinator. This isn't an EMA issue. I was privy to some conversation concerning the hearing impairment system within the courthouse. And we shared some stuff back and forth, is that, and we did. And I just wanted an update, just where we're at and where do we have to go from here. Have there been, I don't think I was privy to all the discussions.
No, it was resolved Monday. They were here and trained the court staff. And I sent that information to Jack last night in a text.
Okay, well, as the ADA coordinator, have you been trained, Jack?
I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. Nobody's communicated anything to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know why you weren't attached to that email chain, because I told them to make sure you were aware of what was going on. So when I seen your text last night, or whatever it was, I responded to you because I followed back up to make sure. And David knew about it, but you didn't. I don't know why you weren't attached to that email, but I've dealt with that as of yesterday.
I need to be brought up to speed.
That's
I'm way behind.
that's kind of where I'm going with this. Again, I wasn't privy to a lot of conversation. I had conversation with you, Jack, and replied to an email, and then I just want to ensure that this is all headed, and Jack needs the tools to make his job work. And
It has been installed, it's working. This is what I've been told as of yesterday. The staff has been trained. David from ADA is aware of it. You might check with him, Jack, and see if you can get a follow-up. Scott from an outside source of Fourth Phase is the one that come down and set all that up and did the training on Monday. So
after our administrative meeting, I'm going to stay today and talk to the court and try to find out where this is and if it's been satisfactorily met for future use and who all knows what. I think there's a gray area here as to who knows what and how this system works, and we can't have that. We've got to have a common knowledge amongst us all how this system works, and if it is indeed up and functioning. So
the funny part of the comments in some of those emails were the prosecutor needs to speak up. They can't hear him, whether you got hearing impaired or not. So I don't know how we deal with that in an ADA compliant issue.
Well, the long and short is I think I'll hang around after and try to find out what I know, Jack, but.
Put that on and try it out.
Well, we need to know.
We need to ensure that reasonable accommodations have been met.
Absolutely.
And I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
You were left out of the loop for some reason.
Yeah, the person that filed the complaint needs to be made whole, satisfied.
Sure.
And then there's follow-up on our end with announcing this to the public. And it has to be in Braille, and David will have to help us with that.
And
It's
signage.
a process.
And signage.
Yep.
And people need to know, the individuals in the court system need to know how this works. And currently, it doesn't appear as though we really know Well, I think we know.
Gary's right. The main complaint is the prosecutor's not speaking
Well-
up, and he's been warned about that before the judges there, the old judge, Judge Quillen used to holler at him all the time. If he was ever in court up there,
Well,
it was horrible.
That's one
It was
individual.
horrible.
However, people do have hearing
Yep.
impairment, and they need to be able to hear regardless of whether somebody's speaking up or not.
The
So,
process is in the motion.
well, and this was just an informative discussion. I just wanted to feel everybody out, and I apologize, Jack, that you don't have the tools to work with, that you need to do it properly. And there needs to be some satisfaction met here. So I'll take some time after this meeting and see what I can find out. That's all that's all. I got.
And you're gonna deal with some more of this as the time comes, because we're in the middle of ADA compliances of all kinds of different issues.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just the first of many.
But it's something we're going to do. and
Right.
We
No,
have.
we have to do.
Yeah.
This
All
is
right.
different though, because it was a complaint file, and we have an obligation.
And we've been working on that obligation. It's
Yeah.
just, it's taken them some time. They've had to get some materials. I'm not defending anybody because I'm not the one doing it. I'm just saying, when you have a complaint, it takes time to put things in motion, order equipment, make sure things are working properly, and that's been part of that process. But supposedly, it's been fixed as of Monday, so you can verify that, you and Joel can here after a while.
Or if you're busy, I'll verify that. I understand you've got other obligations, but
All right, Tammy. We're going back into the department head section here.
Thank you so much for letting me come to you. I'll make it short and brief. I am getting ready for budgets, and one of the things I'll be doing is talking with the council. Hello, council. And I'm hoping I am applying for a CWI, Clean Water Indiana Technical Support Grant. Okay? What that is 50/50. It's a 3-year. This is for me to hire an assistant to assist soil and water. Over 3 years, it's going to be $60,000, $2,000 each year. On that grant, it's wanting me to get 25% financial support, preferably from the council. They're the ones I understand who are able to do that. I'm hoping, in addition, from you, and I'm not asking for money, don't worry.
No,
but I'm hoping that you will do a letter of just moral support. I think that would help my grant when I eventually submit all my letters. I have a sample of that here. I will leave it for you gentlemen. I'll give a copy to Sheila over here if it's something that is appropriate, because I don't know if it is or not. I know that it should help me in my cause, just knowing that, yes, and I will also give you a copy of what I initially gave to the council on one of the reasons why I am applying for this grant and the exciting things that Soil and Water is doing. So let me go ahead and do that. Sheila, do you need a copy? I have a copy of the letter of support. I believe that you already have a copy of what I gave to the council. Do you need me to give you another copy of that?
Yeah, I want to read it.
No, you don't think so? And then what I'll do, if you have any questions, please reach out.
Sure.
I understand that you need time to reflect on this. So I am hoping this grant, I need to turn it in by September 5th. Your next meeting is September 4th, is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
Okay, if you could put this on the agenda, please, Sheila. And again, I'm not asking for financial assistance. Sorry, I'm getting really emotional, I apologize. This is very important to me. But if I have that, yay, we love soil and water, and yes, we support the mission, and yes, we support everything that they're doing, that would be fantastic. This is just a sample. If you want to change the language, won't hurt my feelings at all. And it's on just generic. So there you go.
Should you just go ahead and make a motion to provide the letter of support for the council approval on the 28th of the grant? And that way it doesn't have to come back to the September 4th meeting, should we have it after next Thursday?
We could do that. Let's see how long this thing, let's just take a quick look here.
It's very short, it's short. and sweet, and I just ran into the table.
And Sheila's right, we could make a recommendation that we support the letter, depending, with the,
Where's the board of directors? Soil and Water Board of Directors.
they have a board.
Yes, they have a board. Are they approving this?
That's a good question. That's why we, yeah.
Okay.
Bob brought up a good point. You have a board of directors, where do they fall in line on this?
The board of directors, they are supporting this to Soil and Water. When I told you on this, it's 50/50. 50% is, of course, coming from the grant. That leaves 30,000 total. And we are going to support in kind. Currently, the board supervisors are going to fill out a in-kind support of $5,000 a year. What I'm asking for the council is going to be either $5,000 up to 3 years, because this is just a 3-year grant. I can also divide that up from the council in increments of $2,000 the first year, $5,000 the second year, and $8,000 the third year, for a total commitment of $15,000. The board is committing in kind, it is in kind, $15,000, and we're able to allocate that and itemize that. Right now, the board, Soil and Water, is funding this with a separate CWI grant. I currently have someone right now.
Okay.
By the end of the year, I will lose her unless I can get this funding.
We can approve the letter of support, followed up by the council's decision. I mean, it's just a letter of support. They're going to make the final decision. And I think I was at the meeting last week or whenever it was, and she brought this up. So I think it's still in discussion, if I'm not mistaken. Gentlemen, it's whatever you think. If you want to go ahead and approve the letter of support, she doesn't have to come back on the 4th. It's going to fall into final decision of the council anyway, because it is a financial obligation.
It's just letter of support, that's all it is.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to support that. Huh?
I'll make that
Go
motion.
ahead.
Got a motion by Bob and Joel.
And I'll second it.
All right, got a second by Joel. Looks like it just requires one signature here, so if you guys are okay with that motion, can I sign this? All right.
And sir, do you need me to have that put, I apologize, would you like me to email that to Sheila so that can be put up on county letterhead, because that is generic, I don't have access to county letterhead.
It's fine.
I see no problem with this, it's coming from your department, so
Oh, okay, sir.
not unless Sheila wants to do something different.
You'll need to vote on the motion. It was moved and seconded, but not voted.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Dana, I thought we did. There you go.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate that, thank you.
Any other public comment? Jeff? Might be able to hear you a little bit better.
I have a very soft voice, sorry about that. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Jeff Marks, Fish Creek Road. I have 2 questions this morning, which have been brought up by this meeting today. The first question is, could somebody please provide me with the roadside mowing ordinance? Is it in the list of ordinances which were categorized in 2020 or whenever they were?
It should be,
It
yes.
should be there?
Should be on the county website under the
Okay,
ordinances.
all right, great. So I can do that. And I will just figure out whether it applies to state properties as well, because across the road, that's state all the way down.
It wouldn't.
It
Our
wouldn't.
ordinances are county only.
Okay, so, but the property owner is required to take care of their property, and the property owner in that case is the state of Indiana. Okay, fine. That's the first thing. Second thing is, so, please understand where I'm coming from. I was in I think every single meeting associated with the special events permit a few years ago. We were out there, we were all kinds of places. So I have pretty good understanding of the special events ordinance. Okay. But I was surprised this morning to find that that it is now being applied to this situation, because, so we ran a horse despook clinic at our house, okay, which is basically, you bring the horses into the arena and you put, balloons in the way, because you're trying to teach the horses not to spook in a parade, because this is all parade people. This is our house, is on our property. I don't know, some horse could have spooked and run into the road and hurt somebody, okay? That would then have qualified into, you didn't get a special event permit because it caused damage, it involved the county. So my question is, I agree with special events permit. I think that somehow the citizens of Owen County need to understand better what's involved, okay? And get a yay or nay from somebody before they do anything. We didn't talk to anybody, nada, okay? So I'm just I don't want to be surprised by this later, that's all. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't know that your particular situation is a special event. Sounds like you were having a training session for some individuals. You didn't have 200 people or
No, we
50
didn't.
people.
8 people.
There's a difference,
Okay.
Jeff. In my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to defer to the attorney here. I think he's going to agree with that.
Yeah, do the horses run out in the road and hurt people very often? Or do they
Well,
run
not
out in
very
the road?
often, but it is a despook clinic, which means
Yeah. But,
you
you
never
carry
know what they're gonna do.
You carry insurance
Oh,
as an
we do,
individual.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
but I don't really want to have a fine from the county. Okay, I got it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, and it's not just, is it possible for the county to have to do resources? In this case, it was today, projectiles are leaving the property. That increases, and the number that are leaving the property increases the likelihood that that's going to, so that's a serious situation. So that, I would not believe that your activity is a special event either.
Although we have not had an activity, we also do mounted archery there, so, but,
Be careful.
Well, the biggest thing,
Be careful.
I think the biggest thing in definition of special events is they're making money. They're charging.
Yeah,
for
that's
this
true.
event. You
We
was
don't
not
make money
charging for
anything.
your events, you was given training.
That's fair.
There's,
that's fair.
Paula,
Is there guidelines for what is a special event? Because I think that's where everybody, there's so much gray.
It's in the ordinance. It was pretty well written out back in 1920, yeah.
Okay, where do we find those guidelines then?
It's in the county ordinance. You can get them off the website, county website.
I think it needs to be a little bit more publicized this if we're gonna go.
We got an ordinance book in the auditor's office,
That's it.
building
They're
department.
filed- They're usually filed or turned into us to bring to the commissioners. It's been the process over the years.
And it falls under Chapter 91, and it's online. I was reading off of it online.
There's many people that's on social media that can surely find our county ordinances on our county website.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, and
Yeah, Jack.
Gary, I have something EMA related, and I'm sorry to bring this to you guys without a little forewarning, but really all I'm asking for is permission to work with Dana. The Department of Natural Resources, I found out last week, was going to be approved for 3 tornado sirens. I found out yesterday morning that this is happening a lot quicker than what we expected. The ask is from DNR to put those 3 sirens on our activation system.
Right.
And on our maintenance agreement after the warranty period runs out. And I know that'll be a financial obligation. I'll have to work with the county council on that. But there needs to be a memorandum of understanding, some sort of contract, some sort of agreement between Owen County and the state on how these things are going to be taken care of, the activated access to them, all of those things. I've never done this before. We've never had an outside entity want to get on the system. So I'm not really sure exactly how this is going to go, but I think that I need to work with Dana to get a product ready for the DNR design.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sure these gentlemen do as
Well,
well.
the biggest thing I wonder is, are these overlapping some that we've already got out there, Jack?
The coverage?
Are they really helping our coverage?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's, and Suzanne mapped it out with them yesterday. I think DNR spent some time with her to get that. They're talking about putting one at the McCormick's Creek State Park. They're not talking about it. They're going to put one at McCormick's Creek State Park. And although we have that part of Washington Township pretty well covered, where they're going to put it does provide a lot of coverage to White River. So, you know, people are out there without their cell phones, without any way of knowing, and that is some place that we really wanted to cover, and this siren is going to take care of that.
If they're in the boat going down the White River and the sirens go off, they're in trouble.
Well, it's their job finding a place to go. It's our job letting them know what's happening. So that's about all we can do. And then the other two locations, and I want to be clear, the Owen County Siren Committee, although they're working with us, the final decision on exactly where these things are going to go is going to be up to the property manager of each site. Lieber has been approved, and what does Horseman's, what is that?
So yesterday, we were looking at the campground, Horseman's Campground.
Fish Creek.
And the Rattlesnake one. They're about 2 miles apart by just a straight line. And they're trying to find property that they can clear a little bit of ground to be able to fit a
I'm looking at you, Jeff. You got any property out there?
There's where you need the horse train when them sirens go off.
So at this time, they, Taylor, the manager for that portion of it, he said he had found a location, he was dealing with the white, another gentleman, and they were going to finance the location of that one, and then the other one would actually be in Lieber.
I say we make a motion, Jack, to proceed.
I do as well. I have no problem with it. What I would like to see is that those three are maintenance by the state, not by you, as in the funding side of things. And Joel and I had this conversation this morning, and I know you've probably already turned your budget in, but I'd like for you to make an amendment to your budget to put in a maintenance line to cover these batteries and these different things that you have to deal with. And I think Joel agrees.
Oh, yeah, we spoke about that.
Because we have to figure out where's those funds going to come from, or additional appropriation. But if you're going to do this, you might as well put it in your budget.
I have two line items in my budget, one for extra parts for the sirens, and the other one is for the maintenance agreement. So if you want me to add something additional, I'll be happy to. I'm not sure exactly.
I think the idea here was, Jack, we were speaking, and I want to make sure you have a robust enough line item. And correct me if I'm wrong, a year or so ago, you talked about having to buy a whole bunch of batteries.
Every 3 years, we replace all the batteries.
That's a great expense, but occasionally you're replacing stuff as you go. It was important that we thought that you should have a maintenance line item that covers, robustly those repairs, because your budget isn't that big per se. And that way, you're not taking away from other things. I think it should be called out better. I think you should if you can, redo it to the point where you're covering your batteries. So we know we're covered. You're not having to come back later and say, hey, I need 10 batteries, and man, this is going to be expensive. Does that make sense? I mean,
yeah, the county council's laid out how they want me to approach them about the battery replacement. I think they call it a one-time expense. They don't want to put it in a line item and annually budget for it, because I replace all the batteries on the same year.
oh, okay.
So
it's every 3 years that you're doing this?
it's every 3 years, and I do the entire system.
So it makes sense just to ask for additional appropriation then? Yeah.
Will these sirens match up the fire new sirens we're putting in?
Yes, yeah, Dwight,
So they're
sir,
all the same system, all the same batteries.
yeah, yes.
You wouldn't have equipment for this, equipment for that.
And you won't have to take over maintenance until after the warranty period, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I want to be clear on something, Bob. They are looking at a possibility of adding solar
Oh, great.
sites.
That would be
That they
great.
don't have to hook to the power line. And if that's the case, those are a little bit different than anything that we currently have. I don't have any solar sites, but they're Wayland, the exact same siren that we just put in. The only thing may be a
This
solar
might be a
panel.
great
How are they
training.
testing out? They're doing all right, the solar?
We don't have it installed.
I know we don't, but I mean, have you got any information or any history from anybody else? or-
Only the salesman.
Okay.
It works great on my electric.
We know how salesmen are.
It works great on an electric fence, I know it'll do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, am I good on budget then, or do you want something added?
Well, if you got that covered, I don't see a
Yeah,
problem.
if you're comfortable with that, that's fine.
They did up my budget last year for additional parts, and then I approached them again in June for more money, and they were willing to work with me on that, so I'm pretty comfortable with where it is.
Okay.
Let's
Well,
just make a motion then, Joel, if you want to make a motion, let him use it.
I'd like to make a motion to allow EMA Director White to work with legal counsel on getting this accomplished.
Memorandum of understanding, is that what you think we'll end up with?
Yeah, that would be the best thing, and
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Joel, seconded by Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Matt?
Yeah, I want to bring up the archery thing again real quick. Make sure everyone understands, this sounds like it's a very civil in nature situation right now. And make sure that everyone's clear on the fact of what our involvement can be before it makes it a criminal threshold. You guys didn't decide to go with the injunction, which would give us a little more teeth in the game as far as the possibilities of arrest, things like that go. I feel like this is kind of getting towards the precision gun range kind of situation we had years ago, which we all know turned out to be a mess. I just want to make sure everyone's clear on that. If there's it would be the same as anything else as far as shooting, backstop goes, with an archery range, anything like that. There's a difference between shooting and shooting in a safe direction and intentionally firing something in an unsafe manner that's causing some kind of a safety issue. So I just want to make sure you guys are clear on that, we're talking, going out if we're called on something. We don't have a lot of bite in this at the moment, other than saying, yep, this is happening, another fine should be issued. And I'm not swaying either way, I just want to make sure everyone's clear on that. I think if you want us to be able to really have some bite in this, we're going to need something that's that either it's going to go into a criminal threshold, or the courts give us some kind of authority to be able to do something with it.
So let me ask you a question, Matt, or Ryan. Matt, since you're speaking. The best interest and the safety of the citizens of this county is to place the injunction, so you have the authority to do your job.
If that's the concern, and what I'm saying is, if we go out and this shoot is happening, we can't put an officer out there to sit and watch this thing the entire time and make sure that every archer is shooting in a safe manner. If we go out and there's targets, there's backstop, it's in a safe direction, and they're firing, that's legal. We're talking
Only if they have an event, a permit.
And again, that's going more towards a civil issue and not a criminal issue. On what, again, we could say, hey, you don't have a permit for this for the county, so you can get a fine for it. So I'm just saying it's gonna, when we get that phone call next time that, hey, this is happening again, and we go out and it's, we've got 2 arrows over here. How did those arrows get there? Who were the shooters? What were the situation that happened that ended with those arrows over there? Again, like precision gun range, you have a 70-foot backstop that you can look at and think all day long. I don't know how anyone could get a bullet out of that, but they sure as hell did.
They did, yep.
And I still to this day don't know how it was happening, other than people can't shoot or they're doing it improperly. So I'm just telling you, as a just before we get that next phone call out there, that, you know, we can go out and say, you know, hey, this looks safe, it looks fine, don't know how these arrows are getting where they're going, but, you know, you can be issued another fine for this, but we may not have the authority to go out there and tell them, you cannot shoot, you can't do this anymore. A court injunction or the court's telling us, hey, you have this authority, you know, they are not permitted by the court, judge signs says you cannot shoot out here, that's when we can go out with that paperwork and be like, hey, you're legally not allowed to do it, if you continue, you can't be arrested for it.
Right,
It's
it's civil. What you can do is you can go out there and tell them to stop, but you can't arrest them if they don't stop.
correct.
They can, but you can say, you know, you're in violation, you have to stop. And if they don't, then that's a good, you know, then that will put them probably to the maximum fine.
And my understanding is you sent them a letter before their shoot, and
Yes.
they chose to go ahead and shoot anyway, right?
Right.
So that's, we go and tell them, hey, don't shoot anymore. There's nothing that says that they're not just gonna do it anyway and say, hey,
Right.
we'll take the fine.
But if you go out, that gives them notice again that they shouldn't be doing it, and that, you know, we know about it. And again, I think that would raise the level of fine that they should get because you've actually even went out there.
And I'm
So,
not saying that's a bad idea, I just want the property owners to understand as well that, you know, that kind of how that process works, that, you know, just because we have this meeting day, they're being fined, doesn't mean we can necessarily go out and force them to stop doing what they're doing.
And it doesn't-
Unless something criminal that we can validate is happening, which is, you know, hey, you three shooters shoot on their, you know, shoot towards their property. That would be, you know, a little bit different. I'm not saying that's happening.
I'd recommend telling them that they are in violation and that they they need to stop. And then if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. But like I said, you can't go.
So as long as they understand, that's what I want to be clear on the
Yeah.
properties, they understand that that's how that works.
Yeah.
You know, we do not have the authority to come out and drag them off the property when they say, no, we're going to keep shooting.
Exactly.
Unless we have that criminal injunction, or that court injunction.
Only those arrows cross that line onto my property, which I picked up 15 after Saturday morning shoot on my property. 3 of them stuck in trees so far that I couldn't even pull them out, I had to cut them off. I have all those arrows.
The criminal aspect of it is criminal recklessness. To meet that threshold in criminal law, they have to knowingly and intentionally do that. So knowingly, intentionally shoot them in an unsafe manner to enter your property without them doing it on purpose, then it's not criminal recklessness. If it would be a violation of their ordinance, but we can only ask them to stop if they continue on. We don't have the legal, unless we know that they were intentionally doing it and committing a violation of the state law, not the ordinance aspect. Does that make sense?
I know there's a lot of gray area there. I mean, I understand that. That's the reason that I chose to go this direction
Right.
instead of coming to the direction of you. Last night during that planning commission, again, I was questioned several times, have you talked to Ryan White yet? And I said, no, that's a whole nother circumstance. But not only was there an issue with the way I think it was handled, but when I'm told by a deputy not to call the sheriff's department again, I feel there's a problem there. I feel there's a link problem there because you guys are there for public safety. I had 9 guys threatening me while I was standing on my own property, and I never spoke to them. All I was doing what I was asked to do, and that was to get pictures. I was setting 10 yards to the side of one of their chutes that sits on my property line, and I'm getting cussed at and begged to come over on the Nancy Broken Arrow property, that we'll take care of it over there. And I tried to call the deputy. He didn't answer, so I recalled 911, dispatch. So, and then I'm told that I can have my own pissing match because they called in saying that I was harassing them. I never spoke to them. All I was doing was taking pictures.
You recall the date?
I put that on my phone.
Polly?
I understand, you know, the safety issue. My problem is having this as not having an event permit, because I did find the ordinance, and you did read the three different situations that you would have to have an event ordinance. And they are so vague. I just think that we need to kind of solidify that to make it have more teeth. I mean, you've got the event requires the use of the county courthouse. The expenditure of county resources is contemplated or deemed necessary by county personnel to maintain public health, safety, and welfare. And it's gonna be two of these. The event is expected to have a visual noise or environmental impact upon the immediate vicinity or surrounding area of the event. I understand, but I feel like this is more a safety issue that, I don't.
It is a public safety issue, and that's what our concern is here.
I know, but
We don't
when
want
you
anyone to
use
get hurt.
The whole event ordinance doesn't really cover that. I feel like this is more of a, either, I don't know what it would classify, but
Well, if they had a permit for a special event, they would have to provide insurance, so on and so forth, to provide everything that we require from everyone else to make sure that it's safe, it's legal. So,
And under the pretense that they would use emergency services.
Exactly.
I feel like you're opening up a can of worms here. That's what, I want to see.
I feel like we're
don't want
protecting
this
the
to be,
citizens.
And
I feel like this is like between, it should
No,
be
I
disagree.
understand what Officer Miller's talking about. I think he brought up a valid point. And, I listened to Sheriff White, and he's right. There's an area where they can only go out and say, stop that. And beyond that, it doesn't matter, because apparently they don't care to stop.
It happened for well over a year with precision gun range. Well over a year.
And
and I was involved in that with you guys.
In the eye of public safety, it sounds to me like that we need to take further action to give our law enforcement the ability to have teeth to stop a possibly hazardous situation.
Because we've had something like this happen in our area. There were neighbors that were shooting guns, and they were target practicing, and they were not hitting the target, and they were going into my granddaughter's yard and hitting the trees. And we had the police come 2 different times, and they did stop. But I don't feel like I would have come and said, okay, they didn't have an event ordinance. I feel like that would have been something that would have been more.
They weren't making money, though. This place are doing it for profit. There's a difference.
And there's not one or two people.
Yeah, they're a business.
There's multitude of people. They come to competition shoot, and Target and all this.
There's a
So
big difference there.
I think it does fall under that. Apparently, whether they had one or not doesn't matter, because they chose to do whatever they wanted regardless. And I have to agree with Officer Miller that in order to stop it, they've got to have the teeth to be able to do it. If they don't have it, we're all wasting our breath. It'll end up being a civil suit or worse between 2 property owners, and it doesn't need to happen. So, having said that, I think that we should recommend that legal counsel pursue an injunction.
We have to make a motion.
I believe so.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to allow legal counsel to pursue an injunction on this case.
Got a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second? Second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
And Polly, I will look into that definition and see if I can find, see if I can massage it to.
And I think Polly's got a good point. She's right. If it's, she just read it, it didn't sound like much. So let's get not real crazy, but let's really black and white that out good.
Because it doesn't say anywhere about charging, it said nonprofit or profit. So, it doesn't even say anything about charging money that would, so. Anyway, I just think that, and I really.
Well, I can foresee what happens if we don't. And if we don't do this, we're gonna have 2 people shooting across the property line at each other.
Somebody's gonna get killed.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Last
anything
comment,
that way.
public.
Yes, thank you. So just a slight suggestion on the ordinance. And I remember, as I said, I was here. All these special events were big, 25, 50, 100, 200, 700 people. As the ordinance is written, there's no quantity in there. And maybe that would help just to sort of adjust the order of magnitude of what we're talking about. So a person can say, I'm having 4 friends over, no big deal. We're gonna have 100 people over, oops, I better do something. That kind of, because they can distinguish on that.
That's a good point. Yeah, good point. And I would say anything over 20 people is an event. What do you guys think a number? I think 20 people is an event. Less than that.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah.
20 people.
My family's close to 20 already.
Yeah.
We're over that.
We're gonna say 50, 35.
Well, I would hope that your
No,
family reunion.
I don't know. I
would
could gather
expect
25 of my
extended
friends up and drink beer.
carry
Does that mean-
resources.
It becomes an event, it's a beer drinking.
I'm not gonna follow it. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll think about that.
I'll look into it.
Look at some other county ordinances and see where they're
Yeah,
at.
people don't want to follow special events for family reunion.
And again, family reunions, you wouldn't expect. to
Well, I know.
Resources, but
Yeah. You can drag this thing out
Depends on
forever.
family.
Auditor's comments.
You have in your packet, I'm required to give to you and the county council, the state board of accounts audit. We passed on, there was no reportable findings for the ARPA and the federal inspection that we just had. We, however, now are transitioning into the pre-audit period. I have 13 pages of stuff I'm requested to get for a 3.5-year audit that begins September the 16th. So I will get that information. Soil and water has already been, they're working with our outside townships and offices. Tammy's had to get some stuff. It's going to be very involved. We do need a location to put them. We need an office. I'm not giving my office up for 3 months this time. And so we can determine that.
I talked to Sheila. We can use the old attorney's office that's not being used yet by the coroner over there in the health building. There's one vacant office there, so we can put them over there.
And then we have budget hearings coming up next week. If anybody has any changes, please have them as far as the departments and elected officials by the end of the week to us so that we can have copies printed out and ready to give to the council on next Wednesday. I sent out the schedule to all the departments on your times. I have not heard back from anybody if they can or can't make it, so I'm assuming it's the same. If you can't make it, get with Paula, please. Again, I'm extremely overwhelmed and spread very thin right now, just trying to finish up the opioid annual report and the audits coming up. But I will try my best to get to everybody, but it's gonna be tough. I promise I'll be nice.
I have a question. If they're gonna be meeting over in the old building there, do we have to physically take materials to them? I think it should be in the courthouse.
We don't have any, Sheila and I's already talked about this, we don't have any rooms in the courthouse. And,
They have to be able to leave whatever they're working on for the day in a locked room. We can't bring them in here. They would have to take everything out when there's all the different meetings and things. They tell us enough ahead of time, I think, that we're working on this or we need these documents. You know, we can, depending on the weather, we can ask Steve if we could deliver something over to them. They're not gonna just call and say, I need this right now, but if, you know, they might work up in here for the day or something once in a while, if there's not anything going on, but they also have to have a locked room.
So
Yes.
each department will have
They
to
call it
take
with.
their.
yeah, it's not just you, Beth.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, who's gonna have time to do it?
Right, Bob.
And like Sheila said, they should give you almost a day's notice. Tomorrow, we're gonna need whatever. So if they do that by department, it could be gathered up in one trip made on our maintenance gator or whatever, you know.
Okay. That way if people.
There's not a door on that office.
We'll put one on there. They took it off for some reason. I'll get Steve to get involved in that.
Coroner's office.
But Sheila and I did talk about this earlier. There's just not a secure place here in the courthouse to put them without putting them down in the basement. And that's not a good situation.
No, it's already been approved by the court.
Anything else? No? Dana?
Just one thing, we are pursuing an unsafe building and premises law violation. There was a hearing authority did meet on that. There has been some more information gotten together, so we'd like to have another hearing on that. And so I don't see Christine, two of the members are here of the hearing authority. Would they have time tomorrow either at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. to meet, to have a hearing and go over the additional information that's available now?
Christine and I can text her and ask her. She asked. 8:30.
Would you be free?
We should be back by 10. Should be back by 10.
I'm sorry, what's
We,
that?
we had, the highway department and myself have a meeting out at the Dollar General Freedom.
Oh,
for
okay.
concern. And then, but we should be back by 10 o'clock.
So 10:30 or something.
10:30 would be fine too.
That work for you, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just make
Tomorrow,
sure it
10:30.
works for Christine, and then we'll notify the property and the
Get out of it.
What's it, wind?
occupier.
Anything else?
Nope, I just wanted to get that going, and that's it.
Commissioners?
Yeah, I did want to make a statement in the very near future. There will be a support dog within the courthouse. It has been approved by our commissioners. It was requested by the sheriff's department, and so I just wanted to let everybody know that it has gone through us and it's an appropriate situation, so that's it.
Bob?
I'm fine.
I just have a couple of things. Hopefully everybody sees the courthouse's lawn's put back together. We've got a new sewer line hooked up and everything is working according to as what it should. Once they get the seed and straw down, we will plant a tree. We're talking, I talked with Greg and a couple of guys out there the other day about possibly doing a red bud tree, something that's going to give the courthouse a little bit of color, but not have a root base that's going to destroy all of our underground infrastructure, electricity, gas lines, so on and so forth.
Plant the tree away from the lines.
So, but pretty small root base. So anyway, that is proceeding. We've already talked to Lions Club about the Apple Butter Festival. For some reason, they seem to think that they're going to be downsizing a little bit this year. They normally put the inflatables up over there on this side, and he said that they were not going to do some entertainment that they've normally done in the past, so if they had to, they'd put it out on the street this year. So we're going to accommodate them in whatever manner we can. The last thing I have is we've been working with the highway department and talking about road preservation. LTAP and NDOT pushes this heavily, and Greg came up with a plan for fog seal on several of the county roads, trying to do 22 miles roughly of previous community crossings grants. We've got half of that. I would like to request from the commissioners another proposal of the final ARPA plan interest of $40,697.15 to be used by the highway department to finish that project up.
I'll make that motion.
I've got a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that money would be used for preservation of existing paved roads. And other than that, I don't think I have anything else. I appreciate everybody being here. A lot of good conversation today. And I'm not going to ask everybody to run out of here, but we do have a highway administrative meeting here in just a few minutes. So
Restroom real quick. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.